So I make a lot of videos about housing. Usually, anyways. I mean, I haven't made as many videos over the summer because I've been really super lazy. I was just like, yeah, I don't feel like talking about it. So, anyways, I saw this video on Twitter and I thought I'd share it or I'd talk more about it. And I'll let you listen to it first and to get a kind of, perspective of what they are thinking, right?
And I'll be blunt as well. Housing isn't a primary federal responsibility. And I'll be blunt as well. Housing isn't a primary federal responsibility.
So I played it two times, the second time with an increased volume so that people could hear it better. And I've always been saying the housing price is not going to collapse, at least not like in any meaningful amount. Sure, it has gone down, right? But we're not going for a 2008 style crash like the U.S., as many people want to believe. And in fact, housing prices in Toronto are going up. Now, I can't speak for other places outside of Toronto, but, I think the housing price will continue to go up, and the places outside of Toronto might go down a bit more. But Toronto, Vancouver, those main cities, it will just continue to go up. Now, there are a lot of people out there and mostly my generation, the millennials, and probably even the, you know, much younger end of the millennials, they believe somehow, you know, this thing is going to crash down to 300K and then you could buy a house again and stuff like that. That's not going to happen. All right, that is not going to happen. The reason why the prices are going up, right, in many, like if you actually study the economics of it, right, is because the West, right, Canada, United States, UK, Australia, those are highly sought after countries due to policies and benefits that are not experienced in other countries. And here's the situation, right? Since 2008, if you follow Peter Schiff and stuff, they've been doing QE and 0% interest rate and everything. And then, there hasn't been inflation, right? And how can that be, right? I mean, doing all that and, they say, oh, it's not going anywhere and stuff like that. That is not true. The thing is, everything is shipped over to Asia in exchange for products. So they're holding the money. That's why you notice over the years, right? Over the past 10 years, 15 years, you notice the Asians are getting richer and richer. And they're the ones that are buying the thing. And, back when I was growing up, people looked down at China. And I'm not just saying how they're looking down at China right now. I mean, now they're just looking down at China because they hate it how it's rising, right? Before they're looking down at China because they're really like you know they have no food, like they don't have anything, right? They don't have no good clothes, and the people is like, you know, is not living a good lifestyle, right? They don't have no skyscraper and stuff like that. And then suddenly, over the past 15 years, that has totally did a 180, right? And you see the inflation is shipped all over there. And, and it's not just China now. I mean, China was like back 10 years ago. We're talking about India now. India is probably going to be the next thing. I mean, it's already growing, right? If I'm looking at the houses being purchased, it's mostly being purchased by Indians, right? So, you know, they are sending the money back, right, by buying the houses because the inflation shipped over for the past 15 years has been shipped over to be collected, right? And then they collect it and now they bring it over, right, to whatever country and they buy the real estate, all right? So the money is there. It's just that before you didn't feel it within the society. And the only reason why you started feeling it during COVID is because they locked down the entire country. And not just one country, all the countries locked themselves in. So the money is circulating within the country. You can't ship it anywhere. So you see prices going up. And before the COVID, prices of real estate was already going up, right? because it was going up because you have all these people coming here with money. They are rich, and it's like the cash they have collected, right, is able to help them buy a house in major cities around the world, right? And if it's not a major city, they're probably able to buy two or three houses. So, and you're probably thinking, well, why would they want to buy houses? You got to understand, they can't buy the houses and they can't have the lifestyle in their country because maybe it's too expensive or maybe, there's too much competition. Well, you're in a country with 1 billion, 2 billion. I don't even think they've gotten to 2 billion yet, but let's just say 1.5 billion, right? Let's say India, China and stuff like that. They're like about a billion people, right? Each. And, that's a lot of competition. Well, if you go to a place like Canada where there's 30 million and then it's scattered across everybody, there's very few competitions, right? You can make a life for yourself. And, so they're also most of their mentality in other countries is that the West is better, right? They were using swords, they were using fishes, we were using guns, and we had photographies, right? They were still painting. We had cars, they were using horses. Yeah, we made planes and they had nothing. And that has been ingrained into most of the cultures in Asia. Now that they have the power, which is the money that was shipped over for the past 15 years of inflation. Well, you know, they're using it to buy it there because it is supposedly better here. And they don't know that because you're sitting here, and if you were born here like me, you're thinking, yeah, that's not. I mean, with all the taxes, if you try to start a business, basically you have a minimum wage and all these problems allowing you to grow, right? Stopping you from growing. Well, they don't have it there, right? I mean, they don't have a minimum wage there. If I started a company there, I could hire people for $1, and you had like, if you had $100, you could hire 100 people for 1 hour, right? So, you know, the people that do that get the money and then they move. Now, that bids up the real estate prices, and of course, when there's inflation, it's easier to get those monies. Now, it's only easier for them. It's not easier for the people that are in the particular country because of the taxes trying to equalize everybody. So, anyways, the prices of real estate is not going to have any meaningful correction. It may have a correction up or down here. I made a video about Toronto houses since 1950s, right? And the prices, they had like 10,000, 50,000 correction. Who the hell cares? If you look back at it right now, nobody cares, right? It was around 200K to 300K, and then, it went to 300K, it went down to 250K, and then it went up to 280K, and then it went up to like 400K, right? And then now it's at a million something. So, there is no meaningful correction. And as this goes on, because back then, right? Back then in the 1990s, I know how people love talking about the 1990s, right? Well, the thing is, in the 1990s, most of the West didn't have inflation, and they were in a superior status. Every other country was doing pretty bad. Well, it's no longer like that, especially after the internet was created, because the internet was pretty much created in the 1990s, and the only reason why China ascended so quickly is because around the 2000s is when the internet flourished, right? And it was going way faster over there than it was over here, right? We're slow at everything. Just look at the roads. It takes you like years. I mean, subways, right? Other places build it really quickly. And that's why the prices are not coming down. All right, there is all, and right now they have a foreign ban, right? Wait until the foreign ban is over because the inflation not done. People holding the Canadian dollars and U.S. dollars and stuff like that is gonna look for a place to buy and use those dollars because their job is not to collect the money. Their job is to use the money to buy something, collect it, and then use it. All right, as much as people want to believe, yeah, your job is just to collect the money. Right? These papers that they devalue. That's what the dumb people and the teachers tell you, because the teachers don't really know what they're talking about. They don't spend enough time studying money. They get a job right after graduation, and then they start teaching these baloney things that they teach you. But I spent the past, I don't know, 10 years, and you know, I have a lot of time as a YouTuber or as an ex-YouTuber, or I don't know what you call it, but as a person that pretty much stayed at home and studied economics on my own, and I didn't even go out and have fun and stuff, right? I mostly started doing YouTube and then studying economics and why my money was going down and why people become poor. And that is my conclusion. And I don't think the prices are going down as much as people want to believe they're going down, right? I don't think it'll have any meaningful, right? Like correction. Maybe outside of Toronto, right? There will be some meaningful corrections in places like, I don't know, in provinces actually, like Manitoba, Saskatchewan, or those places with nobody, right? Now, in places with a lot of people, I think there is not going to be a meaningful correction at all. And I think the trend is going to continue. I mean, especially in Toronto and in Vancouver. But yeah, I mean, like he said, that is not their priority. Housing, right, is not their priority. That's your problem. And if you're around 20 something and you think it's going to crash, and then by the time you're 35, it doesn't crash, and it has doubled, right, from million to 2 million, you're pretty much screwed. Your life is over, all right? And, well, of course, I guess those people that are younger than me have better parents. So, their parents probably will leave them something. But do you really want that? That is the question. I mean, are you a type of loser that is just waiting for inheritance and, that's all you can do? You have no power to actually do anything except wait for inheritance.